Hi, fifth grade social studies teachers. My name is Kelly, and I'm going to walk you through the social studies units for this year. So as you can see, this is your fifth grade social studies website, and the first unit that you have is Thinking Like a Social Scientist. So this video covers the Thinking Like a Social Scientist unit, which is meant to be a review of the 4 social scientists that your students will have learned about in earlier grades. The 4 social scientists include an economist, geographer, historian, and a political scientist. Please watch the video about social scientists found in the Teaching Social Studies playlist, and it's also linked below for more information about each one. This is the information for this particular unit. As you can see, this unit should take 1 to 2 days to complete. What you do is you choose 1 or 2 of the activities listed below on this document in order to review those social scientists with your students. Most of your students will have been introduced to social scientists if they attended elementary school at DCG. If they have not, it is also pretty likely that they have been introduced to them if they were at another school in Iowa. You'll want to begin this unit on the 3rd day of school, so that leaves you with 2 days before for icebreakers, warm-up activities, and organizations. Now there's a list of possible activities on this document for you. So the first 2 options listed are slideshows that go through each social scientist. This first one has a review of each one, and the second one here has a review of each social scientist plus information about their particular area of study. So when we learn about the geographer, we also learn about what geography means and what are some of the things included in that area. The last section here has to do with these Thinking Like a Social Scientist cards. You may or may not have a set of these cards in your classroom. If you don't, consider printing this front and back for students to use throughout the year. So as on this first page of the cards, you would see what is the back side. And the back of the cards have the 6 basic questions: who, what, when, where, why, how, that social scientists often ask. And it's put in a visual here just to kind of remind students some of the basic questions that each scientist would ask. On the front side of the card, then, you have the 4 social scientists. There's a brief explanation of what they do, as well as a few questions that they might ask while they're working. For example, on the K3 economist card, this orange one here, we can learn that an economist is a person who studies the ways people make a living, and they might ask, how do people meet their needs and wants, what goods and services are being produced and consumed, and how do jobs impact people and the economy. Now these cards are split by grades. So these first 4 are grades kindergarten through 3rd grade. Then you get another back page with the 6 questions. And then we have grades 4 through 5. Now you'll notice that on the grades 4 through 5, we have the title. We don't have an explanation of what that social scientist does, but we do have more questions, and they're divided into general categories. So most likely your students will use grades 4 or 5 cards, but you might find that some would like to use the K3 cards as a reference point. So here are some different ways that you could use these cards to have students practice thinking like a social scientist. You could have the students look at a picture and ask questions about it in the role of a social scientist. This could be any image. Maybe there's a picture in an article, a book, or even a picture that you or your students would like to share from home, maybe from summer vacation. Students would look at the picture, try to figure out what's happening, and then write a question or 2 from the viewpoint of at least one social scientist. Maybe you can work them up to all 4. The second option is to have students determine which social scientists would be most interested in a certain topic. You could generate a list of topics from history, pop culture, and current events, or even have the students brainstorm a list. Don't be surprised if more than one social scientist would be interested in a topic, but encourage students to explain what would interest each one. For example, if the topic is food, then an economist might want to know how people paid for the food. A geographer could be interested in what foods grow naturally in the area based on climate. A historian might want to know about traditional recipes of a culture, and a political scientist might be interested in laws concerning food production. Another possible activity would be to have the students explore different parts of the school building and figure out which social scientists would be interested in it or what questions they might ask. Some places and things to explore could include the lunchroom, classroom rules, accessible entrances, lockers, and bathrooms, fire exits, a school map, the library, and hallway displays. The last option listed is to have students design posters explaining each social scientist. These posters could then be displayed in the classroom as a reference for the rest of the year. I hope that this video was a helpful resource for you as you prepare to teach this review unit. Please feel free to reach out to your PLC leader, instructional coach, or curriculum facilitator if you have any questions or would like some more information or support.